Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Insomnia50 online qualifiers. My name is Nature, and this time I hope to be getting into the game compared to last game, which wasn't that much of a success for me. But Spunington is still here.
Yes, we live in hope that you will be able to actually spectate and to cast, and that I will not be left with no coffee and semi-functional throat at the end. So yeah, that would be the hope. That would be the aim. That would be the desire. But we do have two interesting teams right now. We have TDD versus FTW. I believe we saw FTW yesterday, where they pulled out some very, very good performances in the quarter-finals of this qualifier. Certainly, FTW have very, very high skilled individual players, and indeed their opponents are much the same. Diamond ones, challengers, you know, there's a fair few high elo players in these teams, which is pleasant for me, because it means that I'm not actually higher myself than half of the players in the games, which we have had in some of the previous ones.
Yeah, so as you said, For the Win have shown an extremely strong performance yesterday when we casted them. So I am really looking forward to them today, as right now it is looking like Things Digger does is locking in their champions at the moment. Now, Things Digger does, we haven't seen them in action, or at least I haven't, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them. And I'm really not sure what to expect from them, to be honest.
No, well, they're clearly at least a decent team to have come so far in the brackets. They have beaten FM Storm. Oh wait, actually, wait, did they beat FM Storm by default? I have a funny feeling they may have actually defaulted that game, but if they did beat FM Storm, that makes them pretty solid on the UK scale, which is a different scale from the EU scale, I would say, because Team Dignitas UK are up pretty much at the top, and they aren't so much in the EU scale. But regardless, though, we have actually got most of the picks coming in, have been chatting about the teams a little too much, perhaps. Elise, Oriana, and Sona being locked in by TDD, and FTW have got Shyvana, Vayne, Janna, and Renekton hovering over now Shen, that is TDD. But they would be picking that into Renekton, which isn't a terrible idea, but you have to really want that split pushing potential if you want to do that.
Yeah, so the Shen is getting hovered over here. Now, I am watching from stream, so I'm not too sure whether it is locked in already. Now, I think that would complement the team greatly, as they are now hovering over that Caitlyn. So with the Caitlyn Sona lane would be a very, very poke-heavy lane in my experience. So I am looking forward to seeing those lanes in action, as right now I believe they will be locking those ones in, and it will be For the Win's turn to start choosing their very last champion.
Yeah, hovering over Katarina right now. I would not expect that at all on any level. That would be a very uncommon pick. Caitlyn Sona versus Janna Vayne, though, that strikes me as a lane which is gonna be difficult for Vayne Janna early on. But if they are able to get a kill early, if they are able to, you know, snowball that lane, or at least get on even turns post about level 7, level 8, Vayne Janna is going to start to really hurt Caitlyn Sona, just due to the fact that she can shield tank so much damage and trade really, really effectively with that shield as well. Still hovering over the Katarina on this last pick here, but maybe they will lock it in. It's questionable when you're up against quite a lot of CC, which they are on this occasion. The other option, of course, is that someone disconnected, which the servers have been doing some interesting things this evening, so I'm not even going to say that's a definite no, but they have locked it in, so okay, it looks like it's going to be Katarina mid against Oriana, which well, that at least the one versus one matchup, I'm fairly confident that's going to be difficult for Kat.
Yeah, so the problem with the Katarina here is that the moment Katarina starts channeling her ultimate, or her Death Lotus, I believe, as it's called, you can just throw some CC at her, some hard CC, and it will just completely negate so much damage that Katarina hasn't been such a viable pick for for just for so long. So I'm really not too confident that that is the right choice for the Win to pick up. But then again, for the Win have shown some really promising performances, so they might just be able to use that to some good extent.
Yeah, and I do believe that Dragon is probably one of their best players. He is, in fact, in Challenger tier at the moment. I believe he is one of the lower members of the Challenger tier, but certainly in solo queue he is a dominant performance, and we'll see if he's able to make this pick work. I'd honestly say, though, it is against him, although there is something to be said for playing a Katarina being a big threat when you've got a Vayne on your team, because you jump into the middle, they all focus, you blow a lot of cooldowns, you die, but then Vayne cleans up and kills everyone. So there is always that aspect. But regardless, guys, we'll be going into a quick delay timer now. 2 minutes 30 left on the clock, and we will be right back after this break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are jumping into this game now. This is the third game in the best of three, so this is the deciding game in the Insomnia50 qualifiers between FTW and TDD. Things Digger does, that being. So, looks like we aren't going to see any immediate invasions, but both teams are in a position right now where they could choose to go for it. The ball is scouting out for TDD. And it definitely looks like FTW are intending on something. All 5 men in one brush.
Yeah, so it is looking like they will be heading in towards that blue buff area. They have started to move out of that red brush, but they have backed up once again, as everyone on the FTW team is right now, or on the TDB team rather, is right now moving towards their respective sorry, red buff area. Now Shag has been spotted out by that ward, so he will know something was about to happen there, and both teams just refrain from using any kinds of aggression in these couple of early minutes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like FTW are mostly there because they predicted it was possible that TDD would try and place an early ward. And if you've got, like Sona walking up towards that brush, it really doesn't matter what she does. As soon as she comes in range, she's going to get killed very, very nastily indeed. So she gets away with that on this occasion. But looks like both teams right now kind of just going to be going for straight up lanes. 2-on-2s in the bottom lane and a 1-on-1 in the top. Not too surprising, although perhaps it would have favoured FTW maybe to let Vayne get some free farm in the top lane. But I don't think there's anything too much to be concerned about on that front.
Yeah, and as you said, the Sona being very, very squishy at this point. Blackjack just took, I believe, one assault right there, and he's already at half his health. Now he is taking a little bit more damage. He's sitting on around 30% of his total HP, and he does have that heal, of course, but then again, he has got limited mana. Meanwhile, in that middle lane, we do have Shag just finishing up his wraiths. That might just mean he might be heading over towards that middle lane for Digger, but Digger isn't pushed up all too far, so ganks might just not be as effective right now.
I'm actually a little bit surprised to see that this time Digger has not opted to go for that shield first build. You often see it on Orianna mids, and especially against melee champions, they feel they can use auto attacks to punish. You see them take the shield as their first skill. They just pop that shield whenever they feel like it and just go aggressive behind the enemy minions and auto attack a lot, because level 1 auto attacks are hugely important. However, Shag is in on the mid lane.
Yeah, here he comes. Flame Breath has been used. Digger might be in trouble here. Red buff procs come on. And here comes a repel of Pete. Doesn't quite manage to connect the cocoon, but Shag has been forced to flash out of there.
Yeah, and both of them kind of not quite cancelling out. There was that flash, obviously, but that's good fortune there, because that means Orianna has a little bit less to worry about in this mid lane. What I would say, though, is that Katarina versus Orianna, assuming Katarina is able to kind of get through the early game, she's actually going to have a pretty decent chance in all-in situations, because she has a much shorter cooldown on her ultimate. She has a very good chance of dodging Orianna's ultimate using the Shunpo, and that can really get quite difficult for Orianna to deal with if she allows that to happen. But obviously, relying on your auto attacks and your your Qs and your Ws early on, Orianna can really put the hurt on Cat.
Yeah, so talking about Cat has also picked himself up a Doran's shield. He is looking to withstand those auto attacks of Diggers. Now Diggers, of course, playing the Orianna is very heavy on those auto attacks, with the Clockwork wind up passive enabling him to do a little bit more damage with those auto attacks. Hold that thought for a second, because Pete has shown in that middle lane. Now, I believe he was spotted out, so that gank won't be quite as successful as he might have hoped. Now, it is looking like Shag and Pete might be running into each other, but it isn't going to happen. Insert, however, might be in trouble here, as Pete is waiting in the wing of that top lane.
Yeah, it actually looks like he's now recalling, so Insert kind of smelling a rat here, feeling there may be a gank incoming. And you actually saw something similar to that in the mid lane, when Digger was trying to set up a gank on Dragon, he actually read the intent. He realized Orianna was getting aggressive and trying to zone him towards that upper part of the lane. As a result, he thought, okay, right, well, I can throw her off here. She wouldn't expect me to go aggressive. It's not a trade I'll normally win. So he went in, shumpoed in, actually put himself further away from the incoming gank, and put down a lot of harass at once. So it was a very smooth maneuver there from him.
9 games, ladies and gentlemen. As right now, once again, Slate actually getting knocked back and getting knocked up by Dithner and Kronz. He is taking quite a lot of harass there in that bottom lane. Now, once again, Pete heading in towards that middle lane. There is no ward to spot him out, but Dragon has got that Shumpo available, of course. So he might just be able to get out of there. Yeah, there you go. Shumpo out, and he's gone. So right now, Slate in all kinds of trouble. Kronz trying to get into him. Or trying to get toward him as he picks up the first blood. Now Blackjack might be in trouble as well, but Kronz decides against following up on that, and he just walks away with 1 kill. But hey, it's first blood.
He got into him all right. Got his first blood from that getting... Okay, no. So Renekton in the stop, they're going to be pushing that out. Shyvana actually kind of is cancelling out a lot of Pete's efforts thus far, but he's getting quite a big XP advantage. Pete is spending a lot of time on ganks which are not working out, and Shag is now sufficiently strong that he can just walk in, take whatever he wants from, you know, from the jungle of his opponent and just walk out again. There's not a lot Orianna can do to stop him, and there's not a lot that Pete can do either. It's a bit of a weird... I don't know if it's just me, but Pete, it's just as a name, it's just like Pete. You got your shares, your crons, your insert, the things. These are all things. Then you just got Pete, just a name. Yeah,
rather normal.
Yeah, it's mundane, and that makes it unusual because it's mundane.
All right, Pete backing away right now from his red buff, as we do have Slate. Is it Slate or Shate? I wasn't quite sure while discussing that before the game started. So, Caitlyn right now trying to freeze that lane in the bottom lane, as we do have Kronz and Dethner returning to their lane as well. Now, Digger has gotten himself a little bit of free farm as Dragon went back to base. Now he has picked himself up, hunting guys for that extra little bit of health and ability power, as well as magic penetration, of course. So he will be doing a little bit more damage and sustaining a little bit more in that lane. As right now Digger is getting that blue buff donated over to him, and this might spell trouble for the TDB bottom lane as Dragon is heading towards them. Here, Slate getting knocked up, Vayne ultimate being used. Slate might be in real trouble here. Here goes Dragon using that Lotus, and he goes ham, actually. Picks up 2 kills for Kronz, and Kronz just walks away casually once again. And now Digger trying to react to that in that middle lane, but Shag is just withholding him from doing anything at all.
Yeah, just a small note, by the way. I believe Kronz is actually called Pepe or something. Pepe the King, I believe, is his name. He's on a Smurf or something. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm probably just going to keep calling him Kronz because my memory is awful if I have to read anything other than the actual name that's right in front of me. So apologies for that if I do that, but I will be trying not to where possible. Still, though, right now this game going FTW's way fairly significantly. You've got that bottom lane with Vayne really starting to snowball out of control because 6 CS is very, very minor, but those 2 kills, well, 3 kills on Vayne, 2 deaths of Caitlyn are really just going to mean she can no longer try and do anything to Kronz in that Pepe in that lane without fear of being all in almost instantly, but there is a fight in mid.
Yeah, here comes a command shockwave. Now Pete might be in trouble as Dragon is trying to chase him down. Stand Unite is being used, but Shag is taking a little bit too much damage. Pete has been slain though. Shag goes down as the second kill here. Dragon now trying to run away desperately from Shay, as Shay is now trying to chase him down, but Dragon does manage to escape. And now, however, Ace in the Hole comes out, won't kill him, however, but there's 4 members trying to contest this middle outer turret, and it is looking like they will be succeeding in destroying that one.
Yeah, that will go down fairly quickly, but they actually have not been able to do that quite quick enough. And the question now is, do they have any hard CC to prevent a really aggressive all-in? Because Cat could kind of scare them off.
Yeah, Shay doesn't quite get condemned into the tower though. Crescendo comes down on Kronz. Kronz takes a Pilter over Peacemaker as well. Now he is trying to chase that 4-man team down at this point. He isn't quite succeeding in doing so, so they'll just be backing away, and they have picked themselves up a turret, but that might open a slight window for FTW to pick up this dragon. But I highly doubt they actually will be contesting that one.
It's one of those things where they could do if they knew exactly what was going on, but it's a little bit too risky for their tastes if not. And they obviously do not have the omni-map vision that we do, which unfortunately kind of costs them a little bit on that front. But right now, Pete is covering this top lane, and that's going to give him a little bit of farm. Yes, that's good. But it feels to me like Shen is going to have some issues with Renekton now. 85 CS and a Tiamat. Actually, I take it all back. I don't think he's going to have any issues at all with Renekton, because I really don't understand the Tiamat pickup on this case.
No, neither do I. And he is doing a little bit of damage, but at this point Shay has got himself a double buff, so Insert really can't out-trade him at this point. So right now Digger might be in trouble. Once again, Shag coming in toward that middle lane. Doesn't quite decide to dive, as Pete has shown as well. As right now Deathnear is taking a little bit of damage in that bottom lane. Dragon and Shag, meanwhile, I'm in the lane trying to take revenge on their fallen turret earlier by pushing it out, and now heading towards that jungle, as they might be looking for a gank in that bottom lane, but they just return to the middle lane.
Yeah, so I feel like Dragon now needs to be, you know, making a few plays here. He set up those kills at bottom lane for Pepe, which was very, very convenient for his team on that front. But he's now kind of without a safe place to farm. And yes, Katarina is fairly slippery. Yes, he does have that Shunpo. But now he really wants to be roaming around this place, because he wants to make sure that Renekton can push down that top tower relatively quickly. And they want to make sure they can get the first dragon, because that will really start to secure their lead that they are definitely building up. And they have a very good team for securing that, with that Katarina, with that Renekton, with that Shyvana. So that's what I'd like to see FTW going for right about now. And I have to question there. I just saw Pepe sort of just stop still in the middle of a trade, and I kind of wonder whether maybe that was lag. But regardless, they are setting up for this bottom lane push.
Yeah, Dragon coming in towards that bottom lane as well. Pete has spotted him out though, but here comes Kronz on towards Pete. It lands a great condemn, but the great crescendo comes down from Blackjack as well. Now Pete is hit, or he isn't quite hit by the shockwave. Now Death Lotus comes out of Dragon, but he goes down in the process. Now Blackjack, Digger and Slate trying to chase down Deathnear. Flash being burned by Digger, as he is still desperately trying to chase him down. He does manage to get him. That is a 3-for-1. Is it a 3-for-1? I believe it's a 2-for-1 trade rather, as a 2-for-0 actually. So they have picked themselves up 2 kills, no deaths on their side, and they might just be looking to pick up another objective here.
Really nice read by things Digger does there. They had Elise in the area, and I think Katarina Dragon there thought he was pretty much home and free, able to, you know, just go in aggressively there. Or maybe they were just relying on how fed Vayne is right now. But that did not work out for them. They ended up in a 4-on-4 fight where they were behind the enemy tower, and they got split up. And as well, Pete juggled the aggro very, very well. He took quite a lot of damage before repelling up, and was able to survive actually partly on the grounds that Vayne misclicked and auto-attacked a Spiderlink. But he was able to juggle that aggro, did not end up going down as a result. They were split, and that just meant cleanup crew could come in and finish all of that off.
However, as a result of that, For the Win have now picked themselves up that top outer turret. I would not be too sure to call that an even trade, as of course right now the Shen can freeze that lane near his turret and get a lot of farm. So he might just start snowballing from this point on, unless they of course decide to stop him. So right now Deathnear and Kronz once again trying to push out that lane towards their enemy's turret, as their turret, both of the turrets are sitting on around the same amount of HP, but now Kronz is backing away as he is sitting on 1500 gold, so he might just be looking to finish off his Blade of the Rune King. There you go.
And that starts to get scary now for Caitlyn. She is doing much better than she was before. She's now got a kill. She's keeping herself close on farm, and she's got a BF sword for herself. But that big power spike from the Blade of the Rune King now means that the individual just threat that will come out of Pepe from Vayne is huge. That will be really scary for them to have to deal with in any situation where they can't instantly blow her up, and especially in one-on-ones. Slight can no longer go even close to 1v1ing Kronz, or he will just get taken out very quickly indeed. And it looks like this bottom tower is probably just going to fall.
Yeah, I don't think For the Win can actually do anything about it. They'll try to stall it as long as they can with the Janna's Eye of the Storm. Now we do have 4-man backing of on the blue team. Dragon was looking to come down, but he decided against it in the end, wisely if you ask me. As right now, Insert is just pushing those minions into Shay's turret, as Shay is trying to pick up that farm for himself. Now, we do have a little bit of a counter action coming out of For the Win now, who are trying to pick up a turret of themselves, as Pete has joined the party, and he will just deter For the Win from picking up a turret here.
And I think this is actually one of the issues with both Vayne and with Katarina, actually. They're so focused, characters, on murdering people, essentially, that they're not actually particularly good at taking out targets like, you know, towers. They're not that good at sieging. For instance, they don't have brilliant wave clear, or at least Katarina has good wave clear, but she has to jump into the middle to do it, and that's not so viable when you're in a siege situation. Vayne also not so good in a siege situation, especially when compared to Caitlyn. She doesn't have the range, she doesn't have the trap, she doesn't have as big of an escape. So, little bit of an issue with FTW's team comp. They kind of counteracted it by picking up Shyvana and by picking up Renekton, who are both pretty solid in terms of wave clear, but Renekton is being committed in the top lane to steal with the split push, and Shyvana is just roaming around trying to be useful where possible, but again, also having a bit of an issue getting in really close and trying to clear out that wave.
Oh, Dragon, nice dodge there. The command dissonance by the Shampoo, as Digger has rejoined his middle lane. Now Deathnear is in that middle lane as well, so they might just be looking to get a quick assassination out of Dragon onto Digger here, but Deathnear just wards up and returns to his bottom lane, it seems. A lot of pings coming down here, so they might just be looking to pick up a kill or two here, as Dragon has backed away. And he picks himself up a needlessly large rod, I believe. Now, that is going to increase his damage greatly. So, on the side of things Digger does, I believe, they really want to look out for that damage at this point.
Yeah, alright. So, FTW now kind of lost the pace they had. They were kind of building up a bit of momentum. They did obviously get that Vayne barely fed on with the 3 kills. You can still see her hanging on to. That goal difference is only going to become less significant as time goes on. And it seems like things Digger does have just done a remarkably good job of shutting all that down. But Kronz is in trouble in bot.
Yeah, Crescendo coming down. Here comes the exhaust. Slade might be in trouble as well, as Kronz is doing so much damage. But here comes the ace in the hole. Headshot. Boom. Down he goes. Now Shag might be in trouble as well, as he has joined the party against 4-man. Dragon has joined as well. Now Pete going in versus the 2 of those, but they have just backed away safely, and now it is looking like things Digger does is looking to push out, or are looking to push out, this bottom inner turret, but Slate isn't really, or is he? Now they are really looking to push this one out. Never mind.
Things Digger does are doing a pretty solid job of making sure they've got control over the map, and they're catching FTW out with lane rotations. FTW aren't able to put themselves into situations where, you know, it's almost like a guaranteed tower very much. They're having quite a lot of difficulty with that, whereas their opponents are just pretty much dictating the pace of the game. just by virtue of being in the right place at the right time and having a much, much stronger siege potential. FTW, if they ever get a fight in open ground, might be able to do something with it, but right now they just are having a lot of trouble ever maneuvering themselves into the position they want to be in.
Yeah, on the other side, however, I do think, yeah, things Digger does might be in a little bit of a disadvantage here because they do not have the Shen, as the Shen will just get stunned the moment he starts channeling that Stand United. Now, of course, for the win, do miss that Renekton as well, but I'm assuming, or I'm thinking that Shay might just have a little bit more of an impact in a team fight with that Stand United than Insert is going to have, but that of course is subject to change according to the team fight.
Well, it's kind of a case of if Renekton is there, Dominus is an infinitely better ult to have than Stand United. There is no question about that. The thing about Stand United though is that it gives you such map control, it gives you positional control. It gets you into a 4-on-5 situation where Renekton is so late to the party, the fact that he's a stronger fighter is irrelevant.
Yeah, Blackjack might be in trouble here. Crescendo comes out, only stuns Shag though. Shag now getting chased down by Slate as we do have Dragon jumping out as well. Now they have picked themselves up a turret. The command Shockwave comes down, but Slate might be in trouble trying to get out with I-90 Caliber Net. Now Pete going down to Dragon. Dragon getting the recess. Double kill for Dragon here. Stand United being used. Dragon for the triple kill here, or is it? No, it's going over to Kronslow. Now they are looking to pick up that inner middle turret, and they might just be looking to push on to that inhibitor turret in that middle lane.
They will at least be doing a decent bit of damage to that tower. Maybe they'll be forced away because Shen will be there soon, but I don't think that is too big of a deal for them. They could certainly damage him down, but decent chunk of damage on that tower. A free tower in the middle. Well, free, they won the fight, but off the back of the fight. And then they've also just managed to get Katarina a little bit more fed and Vayne a little bit more fed, which makes their team fight really, really scary again. It's kind of looking at the moment like things Digger does are just going to have to play very much off the back of Shen split. He is able to split them up. He is able to prevent those team fights from happening simply by virtue of map pressure. But if he doesn't do that, if he gets pushed back by Renekton, or if he just isn't able to push fast enough, or his team gets caught out, that kind of fight could easily happen again.
Yeah, so now we do have both teams just looking to regroup and rebuy a little bit, as they might just be heading in towards another team fight shortly, because here comes things Digger does, barging through that middle lane once again, but Shag and Deathnear are waiting for them, as Digger and Blackjack are just looking to ward as much as possible. Now Shay is looking to start split pushing once again. He doesn't really have Stand United available at this point, so he really will not have an impact if a fight breaks out in mid. However, he is forcing Insert, of course, to come towards that top lane as well. Now we do have once again both teams, as I said, grouping up in this middle lane. And this might just be quite an important fight. However, we do have Shang. Oh, I thought he was actually heading towards that top lane, as Shang is just looking for maybe a pick off here in that jungle. But it isn't looking like things Digger does is going to give them the opportunity.
Jack's kind of running in, but he's actually just going to back out again. We're very, very close to Digger there, actually, just pretty much in tapping distance, but they're going to go for it.
Yeah, Digger might be in trouble here. Here comes Insert using that Dominus, and Dragon is standing ready for the complete combo, just burning through everyone. Down goes one, down goes two, and it is looking like the entire team is getting wiped here. That's a double kill for Krons, and they will be looking to pick up this inhibitor. As a result of that, the GG's being called for the win is out of this competition, and for the win is actually won this competition. Never mind me, I'm just going to cry in a corner because that was a terrible mistake of mine.
No worries, but regardless, we still have the finals coming up, which is now going to be FTW versus Dignitas UK, which should be a bit of a doozy. Both these teams have shown themselves to be really, really, really strong. FTW, I've got to say, every game we've seen them, I think they have done a really, really good job of just dominating their games in general. So, strong team. Shouldn't take long to get the lobby up, guys. We will be up as soon as we possibly can with that. So just hold on for a little while and we'll be right back.